We are live. Hello. So, hi. Today has been such a wonderful day. I have had two sales calls, a call with a new podcast guest. So, yes, we are back for the spring season of the podcast. This will be season two. The fall was season one. And I'm excited because I've been toying around with finding my rhythm again with content, with going live and connecting with you all. And I've heard so many things over the last few weeks. I am bewildered, bothered, and just bamboozled. Okay. The first thing that I want to address with you guys, let me sit back in my seat and move this pillow out the way. If y'all ever wondering what the furry thing is, it's a pillow. And I've had it in my chair for so long. I don't even know why it's there. But literally since 2020, I've had that pillow in my chair. So back to what we're talking about. Over the last few weeks, I've talked to so many business owners. I've told myself, research, research, research. What do people care about right now? What's keeping people up at night? What is the bottleneck in the businesses? Okay. So as a business owner, right, we are the visionary, we're the innovator, right? We're often the first that we know to do business in the way that we do business. And one of the things that I have noticed over time is that we need help. We need support. The best my business has ever done is when I've been in a position to feel confident enough to hire people. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm trying to go live on TikTok because I forget. And which, by the way, with my 1,013 followers, I've been accepted into the TikTok creator program. So bravo for me. That's another stream of income. I already get paid a whopping 13 cents on TikTok. So we are grateful for every cent that we make, and we don't scoff at all at making money on social media because all we have to do is get on our device and we are connected. So let me go ahead and go live on TikTok, and we will. Is it live? Okay. So hello TikTok. We're gonna go live. We're gonna get this done. But what I was saying is that a lot of business owners are the bottleneck in their business. They are the reason the business is not making money. And try as they might, they can't get out of their own way. This is not a mindset session. This is the reality of the world that we live in. The fish rots from the head, okay? And the pipeline dries up often with the owners. The deals don't close because the owners. I'll give an example. I talked to a business owner, and she said something to me, and I almost jumped out of my seat and was like, wait, what? What she said was that people don't reach out to her. And she said that, I go to these events, I go to these organizations, and they don't follow up with me. She was the third, fourth, fifth, 25th, 500th person I've heard say that. So let me just demystify this first sales point right out the gate, okay? It's your responsibility to follow up. It's your responsibility to initiate the conversation. It's your responsibility to keep the conversation going. It is your responsibility to follow up, okay? And what we're going to talk about today is how do we get out of our own way? Because it doesn't matter. I've worked with companies with 100, 200, 300 people, okay, in their staff. This is not you're a solopreneur problem. This is the fish rots from the head problem. And we are no longer going to be the people who are spoiling the experience of not making enough, having the confidence to be creative, but then missing out on cashing out on that creativity because we are perpetually the stoppage, right? The business might be too, what's the word I'm looking for? Too dependent on one or two people. And so we're going to shake things up today, okay? We're going to have some fun because sales is fun. Money making is fun. And what do we do every day? Every day we MMA. What's MMA, TikTok? Money making activity. So every day that we decide to own a business is a day we decide to say yes to sales. So I'm going to put yes in the chat. Hey, TikTok, because I am saying yes to sales. And this is not one of those lives where I tell you, oh, you should sell, oh, money making activity, and I just leave you. I give you all this like rah, 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 run. No. Today, I'm going to teach you how to leverage ChatGPT so that you can create your sales campaigns and so that you can figure out what's going wrong in your business. Hey, and then from there, because I am so confident in this, you're going to be able to rewatch this video over and over again and build out your sales plan. But I need to open up your mind, okay? Because whenever I talk to business owners, I feel like where we miss one another is that they'll come to me and say, I want to make more money. I know I need systems. I know that my business can make more money. I have the clients. I know the people who want to buy from me, but I just don't have enough time, right? Here's the reality. The right time never comes. You make the right time. It is your responsibility as a business owner. Each and every time a decision needs to be made, you decide that's the right time. You accept authority and you do the work. Because people's livelihoods depend on you. People's health, safety, wealth, wellness, all is dependent upon your ability to say yes to do what? Make money. To say yes to pay them on time. And this world we're living in, there's so much change every single day. But as a business owner, the great thing is that you can continue to create positive change for so many people. And that is the essence of a lot of what I talk to folks about is they want so many wonderful things. They have all these, listen, $1 million worth of game right up here, and it never leaves up there. I worked with someone, his family owned a media company. Okay. This media company was very successful. And I really want to tell y'all, but I don't know. I won't tell you the media company. What I will tell you is that it's a very successful media company and they've been around for a long time. He approached me and said, hey, we really need to hire somebody to take over this project because I know if we can get this project up and off the ground, it'll have a positive impact on everything else. Nobody here wants to learn this. Nobody here wants to do this. Do you think you have the capacity to take it on? Cool. So, of course, I was like, I think I can manage that. That was my first introduction to taking over all revenue generating activity for a company. And they gave me free reign. I had a budget. I had the opportunity to hire some junior consultants and we took off. Okay. It was so much fun. But the thing about it is that when I was working in that company, I was looking around. I'm like, they are making money. Okay. But they still had that same friction point that so many other companies have. But this is a reputable, respected, used company, media company. And still, we're at this same friction point. So I want to level set because I always like to start here with some type of like visual aid. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. And let's see. I want to show you something, okay? Now, what I'm about to show you is something that is going to make a whole lot of sense as soon as I am able to, let me see, hold on. How do I flip my camera on TikTok? As soon as I am able to show you this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. I feel like I'm too distracted. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen. Imagine if, because you have to open up your mind and accept the fact that in your business there needs to be change. And too often we don't want to make the change that is necessary for our business to grow because we feel like we're losing control or losing autonomy or something, right? We don't want to lose our business. Most of the time when I interact with people, what they tell me hand over fist is that they don't want to lose their business. Now, I want to start here, okay? This is Ford in 1917. This is the Model T, okay? Imagine if Henry Ford was not interested in innovation and we were stuck to ride in these cars, okay? Could you imagine pulling up to the club and this with your girls? Listen, the vibe is not vibing, okay? And it evolved, right? I guarantee you money that Henry Ford, okay, was not building every Model T with his own two hands. He was not, okay? And then when you look at, like, keep going, right? So you have all of these versions of 4. Imagine if he said, y'all can help me, but you can only help me with the Model T. Okay, I don't want to see it evolve. Look at these tires. Okay, it just wouldn't have made sense. And they went from that, and then imagine, let's go over a few decades, right? What if they just would have stopped? I know these are all trucks, right? But what if they would have just stopped there in 1974 and they said, all right, enough innovation. We don't want to change. We don't want to grow. We've had enough. We've had enough. We just don't want to deal with this at all, right? And we're just going to stay there, right? That's how so many business owners are. They have this idea. They only want it to be sold this one way, right? They only want it to be sold like this. They can't even imagine that if they just let up, release some control, get out the way, hire other experts, that you can go from the Model T to, what is this, 2018, right? To this F-150. It started, okay, let's go back to this, and it took them, what's that, 100 years? Yeah, it took them 100 years to get there. Imagine, though, if the person who created the business never got out of their own way and never said yes to the idea of working with other people, never saw the value in collaboration. Like, the world we would live in is just not, it just could not be the world that we have today. It just wouldn't, and it's that. Like, you have to accept the fact that in order for you to be successful in your business, you're going to have to invest in other people's genius and do what you do well. A lot of times when those cars were being built, Henry Ford wasn't at the warehouse. Okay. So often business owners are trapped in this mindset that they have to know everything about the business every day, all day. Or if not, they'll get pushed out. They'll become irrelevant. They'll become obsolete. It's not the case. It's not the case. And you have to accept the fact this is a safe space, right? There are going to be people who have better ideas about your business than you. There are going to be people who have ideas about how to make your business better that you would have never come up with. There are going to be people who can run your business better than you. And if that happens and you come across that person, hire them and pay them extra, okay? Because they are going to help you get to where you want to be. They're going to prove you right that it's possible. And so today what we are going to do is we are going to first start off with ChatGPT, and we're going to let ChatGPT create a sales campaign for us. And I'm going to walk you through how, if you were my client, how I would then implement that, okay? So we are going to, again, go back to share screen. We want to share ChatGPT. All right. So we're going to go over to ChatGPT, and we're going to start with this, okay? We are going to ask, hey chat, I am working on a project for a client that is, what do we want to make the client? We're going to make the client is a health tech startup. They have about 500K in revenue, but they have hit an income ceiling. Okay. First, they want to run a sales campaign for their, here we go, subscription base. Okay. So they want to run a health campaign for their subscription base. They want to better understand how they're able to get in front of their clients, right? Let's see what ChatGPT says. Hey, y'all. Hey, what's this? Hey, TikTok. So the first thing it'll ask you, and if these are not terms you're familiar with, strap in, guys. It's going to be a ride. They want to increase average revenue per user. They want to reduce the churn and extend the customer lifetime value. Reduce the churn means people sign up for the freebie or the offer, and then they do it for like a month. So they really don't have a life cycle. Or you want to figure out how you can get people from one tier to the next tier. Or you have a cash flow problem and you want to figure out how you can get people to prepay for a year. And you also realize that the users who like your program really like it, but their referral rate is so slow. I want you all to know, what didn't you hear? Are you ready? You did not hear create more content, okay? You did not hear go ahead and go live all day, every day. You did not hear your post needs to be smarter. You didn't hear change your messaging. None of that came into play. This is a sales experience. This is a sales endeavor. And in the spirit of sales, right, we need to understand, if you have a subscription-based model, okay, up front, who are you trying to target? The reality is that you want to think about, if people are paying me right now for $1 and I have up to $25 worth of products, how do I get the $1 spenders to become $25 spenders? Is that the only jump? Is there a $7, $10, $15, $20, and then $25? Right? Because then that goes from being a $26 opportunity to whatever 1, 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, 20, 25 equals, right? I know it's more than double and triple. You can literally have new offers to create new revenue from the exact same people. You can resell people if they pay $1 and you have a $3 level. It's easy to get them from $1 to $3. And from 3 to 7, right? From 7 to 10, from 10 to 20. A perfect example of this is Netflix, right? Netflix has I think now they have the no ads version, right? Where you pay, let's just say, I don't know, $20 a month. And then they have, I think, what is called like the with ads, and that's like $12, right? Either way, a lot of us has been with them since they were $5.99 and no ads, and we're still paying them at $20 with no ads, right? The churn rate, right? Because we didn't talk about increasing prices. The churn rate, though, for them, I'd imagine has to be within their margin of error, which means that maybe they expect a 7% churn rate, and every time they increase their prices, they might lose 20% of revenue. That would be huge. They lose 20% of revenue, but they more than make up for that, because every time they increase the price, they factor in people who are just like, cut it out, right? So raising your prices is always a great option if you raise the quality, right? So when Netflix raised the prices at some point, we were like, listen, nothing is changing. Your programming is not, I'll never get to all this programming anyway. It's fluff. And they were like, we're going to raise your prices. And if you say no, we're going to add in ads. And so they were able to continue to get us to grow with them, because we are used to an experience. The quality of the experience, if we don't say yes or we spend less, diminishes. And there are some people who are like, I don't care, give me some commercials. I have no problems with watching commercials as long as I can still watch my Netflix shows. Okay. So inside of your business, even if you are a health tech company, even if you are a doctor, even if you are an agricultural firm, even if you are a consulting agency, it literally doesn't matter, because far too often your pricing gaps are so significant. I had a client one time and her churn rate was so high because every time she would raise her prices, she would raise them outside of what the quality will match. And there was nothing to incentivize people to stay. So I remember she went from $500 to $2,000 a year. Okay. And that was it. She just raised her prices because she said, well, everybody else is raising their prices. I'm going to raise my prices. And so I said, well, if you're going to raise it from 500 to 2,000, which means that you're going to 4X, right? 4X your prices, then how do you make up for it being 4 times what it used to cost? Like, what are people going to be getting that when they pay 4 times the amount, they're going to be happy with it, right? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Those are the questions that we ask our clients to ensure that if you go from 500 to 2,000, what are we going to be offering people that just makes sense? That's going to excite them. That's going to keep them in the room. Because if you're not very clear about how you're making money and why people are with you, then raising your prices might make sense. But a lot of times that's not going to answer the question, right? Because as soon as you raise your prices, you have people who are going to quit. There are some people who were working with you when it was free, and now they don't want to pay, right? And now, when you start to add in new features and upgraded tiers, especially ones that don't cost you anything extra, right? Like if you add in a Zoom, a 15-minute weekly Zoom that you didn't offer before. Okay, well, yeah, that's more human capital time. But if it's a group live, it's an extra 15 minutes. But they get to pre-submit their questions and you run through the questions. So you went from being relatively inaccessible to now they get an hour with you a month. Instant value add. And you've also done what? You 4X'd your presence. So they're going to want to buy into that, right? Like we had a doctor who wasn't doing consultations, okay? And so I was like, well, if you just did consultations, legally they could charge for consultations. I was like, if you had paid consultations and you could apply that to the overall service for certain services, people would rather pay $97, $100 to know that they have a service that they trust and then do business with you than to have to wait until finding out much later that they just didn't have an opportunity to get to know you, didn't have an opportunity to better understand you. There's so many ways and opportunities for people to do business with you and for you to make more money in your business that don't require that you work harder. Okay, so if you just got here, okay, what does that say? I'm trying to look at TikTok too. One more time. Increase your average revenue per user. So maybe you start to add in things people can buy, right? I was on some app before, and I remember they had an option to skip the line. I'm a sucker for a skip the line option. So I paid an extra whatever to not have to wait in line. Then I'm also a sucker for a Uber, pay a little extra for it to get here faster. I love speed, okay? I love nothing like convenience and speed to get my money. Nothing like convenience and speed. And I'm not like a ad shopper, so if I see an ad on like LinkedIn or something, I don't usually buy from social media ads, but let me tell you, those in-app purchases from like Uber, DoorDash, any of those, they get me every single time. I'm also the person who always pays for expedited shipping. I don't do very much online shopping at all, but I'm sure if you went and tracked my history, almost always I pay for express shipping because I love what? Convenience and speed. So think about how you can add on things that make doing business with you easier. Years ago, this company ASOS, they had I think it was like $100 a year for unlimited express shipping. I paid for it every time. Every time. I don't think they have it anymore. But I started ordering from there more because I knew I could get express shipping. And I wonder if they would have stuck with that. They probably would have been able to compete with Amazon better. But we stay on track. We stay on track. So start to think about how can you add on things that can make it more convenient? How are you going to reduce your churn rate, which is people who don't re-sign with you? How are you going to promote new features or upgraded tiers to the same people you already do business with? And hey, Soul, of course, how do you create an annual subscription? Now, in our terms, if you are not a health tech company, a subscription is a retainer, okay? I want you all who have these amazing, wonderful, magical consulting businesses to stop running your business like marketing coaches, okay? What I mean by that is a lot of terms that we use that are, nobody understands them, right? And so when you say things like accelerator and things like that, call it, like, you could just call it a program. You can call it training. I think that we have lost the plot, you guys. Like, selling is sales. And there are so many terms that, because marketing people are so good at marketing, they've been marketing you their programs that make sense for them, but they don't make sense for the type of business that you're doing. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that as we are going through this process, we are giving our clients what they want, right? And this one right here, referral partners and incentives, I cannot stress enough. Getting people to refer business to you is the cheat code for business. All those other things matter, but getting people who like you to celebrate your business, hey, thank you. is going to make such a difference for you, and how you're able to live your life, forecast revenue, and have some speed, right? Now, segmenting, okay? In this terms, it's saying segment the subscription base. I want you to take out subscription, email, text, client, okay? Whatever this word is, take it out and supplement it for anything. Everybody has a bucket. Thank you for the hearts. Everybody has a bucket they belong in. Everybody. Remember I said 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, 15, 20, $25, okay? Each of those people go in their own bucket. They are treated independently, right? The goal is to get them from one to the next. And then what happens with the $25 person? They don't leave you. You figure out how you sell them something else. You figure out how you find a new tier. You figure out how you turn them into a retainer. You never let people leave, okay? This is family. Once you start doing business together, you're in it for life, okay? Now, there are some things that you need to consider. High usage, low revenue, okay? So maybe those people who are that $1 tier, right? So maybe that's your one-off consultation. How do you, they're going to max out because they are going to do that 90-minute intensive and they're going to max out. And what happens though is that they get so much value they can't implement. They can't even begin to take action, okay? They are a perfect candidate to say, hey, you bought us at $500. You should be a part of our program. Because at the end of that, there's no way that they don't know that they need to do business with you. There's no way that they don't know that you are the right solution for them. Because you are going to be customizing and tailoring whatever you have to offer at that a la carte level to upsell them into a relationship. Because I feel like the consultation needs to be the test point. And then, I just lost my train of thought this is hard. I want y'all to know really quick. Doing TikTok and doing LinkedIn at the same time is a little difficult. But you want to make sure that at every turn, you are working through keeping people from one tier to the next, but they all have to be treated differently. So yesterday I told y'all I'm anti-funnel. This is why, because there are different entry points for every person. And the funnel assumes that everybody meets you at some point and they get matriculated down into the funnel and become a full-time client. That is not actually true. Funnel is a marketing term, okay? You are on a journey with people. So now the next step will be low usage, low engagement, okay? Who are the people who maybe you've connected with who you haven't followed up with? Who are the people who deserve to have a relationship with you? You've got to have a conversation. You haven't asked them to hop on a call, okay? They are untapped potential. The people who are, it says reactivation, right? High usage, high revenue, okay? These are the people who do your LinkedIn recommendations. These are the people who you sign up to be referral partners. Hey, you love the work that we're doing. I am giving $500 cash for any closed deals with people who you refer to me, okay? They will make the money for you. I did a program in 2023 where I gave people $500 for every closed deal. They made so much money. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't even have to work. They were referring me to people all the time. I didn't even need a referral. I didn't need a marketing plan because my marketing plan was word of mouth and it worked so well. And the people who were referring people to me spoke so highly of me because they wanted to make money. $500 for a referral. All I have to, and then they know I can close the deal because I've already worked with them. Money, okay? At risk. These are the people who are at the end of their contract or the people who can shop your services. I use this example today in a meeting. In 2025, people are shopping doctor's appointments like buying a new car. You are no longer going to be the neighborhood doctor. You are no longer going to be the only choice for people because the internet has made what used to be an inconvenience access. So now, people probably would have always gone 20 minutes away from the doctor, but they would go on a phone book and find the person closest to them and then just be resolved and that was the right choice. They don't have to do that anymore. There's ZocDoc. There's that other app that's like Yelp for doctors. There's the American Medical Association. They are flush with opportunities, right? So even in professional services, there is still a lot of competition. There's a lot of opportunities for people to go and do business with somebody else. So how do you beat that? Okay. How do you get yourself into a position where you are able to pivot profitably without the fear of, I'm going to lose people. What's already working is no longer going to work. I don't want to overwhelm my staff. I don't want to learn any more technology. Here's your solution. So we're going to stop here today. We are going to build out our Asana board, but I don't want to take too much of your day. Here's the solution. Step 1, just comment solution, and I will send you over a link so we can have a conversation about how to build a sales campaign, how you can capitalize on this. Because maybe you aren't a health tech company. Maybe you're an agriculture firm. Maybe you are a wedding planner. Maybe you are a hospitality company, and you're trying to figure out, how do you do this? How do you create multiple tiers of revenue for your business so you can track the revenue and grow the revenue in areas that are not clearly defined in your business and you don't know that you have the system to support it? Okay. You can type in systems in the chat, and I will send you a link, and we can have a clear conversation about what needs to happen next for your business. Because here's the truth. Okay. In 2025, it's not that you will become obsolete. Okay. It's that you'll become irrelevant. And people think that the opposite of being irrelevant is to post every day. Here's the truth. Most people are not posting contextual content. They're posting content for likes, to go viral, to feel like they've been productive, to do what everybody else is doing. Okay. The reality is that content is context. And in 2025, in order to stay relevant, people are loving credentializing. Okay. I always start off by saying, my name is Chanel Rose. I've been working in sales for over 15 years. Okay. They want to know, where have you come from? Okay. The risk right now is being irrelevant and being unknown. And how you are ensuring that can happen for your business is that you're the only salesperson in your business. You're responsible for the revenue generation. You're responsible for the ad campaigns. You're responsible for the marketing. If the answer to your business is me, for those questions, you are running an at-risk business, and it cannot stabilize because you're the only person responsible for the sales. And that's why you keep hitting those revenue ceilings. That's why you keep ending up in the exact same position. That's why you feel like, throw the whole business away. Okay. That's not unique. I have worked with CEOs of large corporations who experience the same frustration. Let us help. Let us partner strategically and create solutions for your business that continue to allow you to just be the genius in the business, to lead, okay, to be the visionary, to be the innovator, to be the creative in the business, so that you do those things and we're over here, okay, doing the necessary work to ensure that you're meeting your revenue goals for your business. My name is Chanel Rose. And again, all you have to do is comment strategy, and I will be there to support you every step of the way. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.